Okay, welcome to our weekly Shira and Likutei Moharan. Baruch Hashem, we are learning Torah 38, Lamed Ches. We finished Sif Gimel, which is Shalosh, the third part of the Torah, but it was pretty deep, and we sort of went through it pretty quick. Very deep concepts in terms of the power of fixing up our speech and removing the storm winds, removing the kitrugim, which is the prosecuting forces in the world, through fixing up our speech. I'll quickly read a short summary. He says here that in the Be'ezov.org, a person needs to check himself all the time that he's davek to Hashem. In order to understand what Davekus being joined to Hashem is, he needs to lishmoa etz lashono, he has to guard his speech from any kinds of negative speech, any blemish, or anything that ruins that, and to elevate his speech and to fix it. And that's, in order to elevate his speech, he needs to join himself to the root of Gavurus. And that is a thing which is B'keshus ha'adam shedibo, which is connected to the way he uses his speech in truth. So all of us have to work on that. And in terms of getting to the Gevuras, we mentioned the pasuk that we just said in Asher and Mincha now, and it's something which many times you see this concept of Hamtakas Adinim through going to the Shorish. And one of the concepts we mentioned this week is the idea of taking out from Shavuos and from being Mamei Rebbe, the Ton Rebbe, and also this whole summertime is working on the Inyan of Simcha and the Ziva Simcha and if there's a Shemba Simcha, and that's a big cloud that in order to be Mamtik we have to take a Gavura back to its Shorish, which is in the realm of Bina. Bina is Shorish, is very shaykh to Simcha, Samcheni Vinyana. We say in Alamechia, Alagafim Pre-8s, we say in the main Sholosh Bracha, we say Samcheni Vinyana. We have to sameach ourselves with the building that we're doing, and the building of, obviously the Pshat is building in the in this world, the Beis HaMikdash, and the building Yerushalayim, building Makomis of holiness, places of holiness, like Shur David. But then the idea of Samchenu V'Nyana is also be to Samech in the Olam Bina, to have that Simcha from the understanding, Havanas HaTorah, to get more clearer and clearer different Pshatim, and that's part of the Tikkun of the Dibur through clearer and clearer Pshatim in Torah. So being that we're Erev Shabbos now, and we did push off this learning in order to be able to include someone, so I'm actually going to be seeing him Motzei Shabbos. So the second part of this Torah we'll be learning together with my Choshev Chavissa, hopefully on the way to a Levi Miller show. Levi Miller is Matziel's son, and that's something that's also come up because there was a big rash back in the day when Matziel went through his changes, and everyone in the world was in the Jewish world was trying to process, and the music world to process his changes. And I actually wrote a blog, and I went and looked at it again this week. I was after looking at 1848. I think that's the 1840 podcast with David Bashevsky. And I was watching the interview he did with Matziel, and being that I'm now working with his son, and the first time ever, and we'll use this as the cover picture, Matziel shared something of my work, which is with Levi, his son. We're doing this show on Motzei Shabbos to bring some unity and light to Tel Aviv, and Torah energy and spirituality and love, that whole vibe. So he shared that on his story. I was very excited to see Matziel sharing as my logo there, as my son pointed out wisely. And also, I'm also a dedicated learning to my son's success. He just finished his schooling and his matriculation. I'm very proud of him, and we're going to celebrate, please God, the next few weeks with trips, and he has a ceremony. Very proud of. We have to give encouragement to our children, just like Matziel was giving encouragement to his son for a show. Levi Miller will hopefully be a big success as part of Unity Bookings and JT LV. Baruch Hashem, we have to be mechazik in these inyanim. So anyway, we are now holding in Sif Dalet in the Tikkun Dibur. This is the Avodah Tikkun Dibur Ayidei Torah Shalomdim B'Sal Adam. The person is learning Torah is in a state of studies under duress. This is the concept, and we all have this at certain times in life, where in order to fix up something we have to sort of really prove in a deep way how most nefesh we are in speaking truth and seeking truth, being mevakesh the emes, that's one of the nakudas which I wanted to fix up with the Matzel point, that one of the points that came out strong from the 1840 podcast was how strong he's come out from everything with his connection to Tefillah and Deveikus to Hashem after being by many people who are such of their Hashem. There's a Rishima, and he still has that inner connection. You see it through his music, is filled with Tefillah, and also his fire for Eretz Yisrael, the Eish for Eretz Yisrael, and it's coming out in the fact that his son's here, doing his avodah here in Eretz Yisrael, and I feel honoured that I get to be part of the journey, because I do believe these kind of souls can have a big ashpah on a lot of Am Yisrael, and it's up to us to be, as people who are connected with them, to be mechazik together, to strengthen. And that's a big tikkun from all those years ago when it was a bit confusing. We have to get through the bilbul and come out with the tikkun of dibur. And one of the ways is by learning Torah in a difficult state. So we'll be learning it on our way to Tel Aviv. Hopefully, most Shabbos, we're learning it now in a situation where we see the world around us a bit chaotic, a lot of distractions, a lot of things going on. To be able to focus in on just learn, and to learn with clarity. I think the Rebbe Nachman's Psala Adam is also to do with Aniyas. Yeah, he says this in the next page, Aniyas v'dachachus, which the way it translates is poverty or distress. Shu bechinas laila sh'az sh'tuna, so decays kolbasa. This is an aspect for night, which is an end to all flesh rules in it. As we've already mentioned before, Kumo shekasev Kate Sa Lachoshech, Kate Sam Lachoshech, Ketsiv Lachoshech Kra Laila. These are famous pasukim in Bereshis, that he puts an end to darkness, and the darkness he called night. So this is the end of the darkness. Certain understanding that in Kabbalah that Laila is connected to Malchus, and Malchus is connected to Peh. So the Indian of fixing up the Peh is fixing up Malchus, which is fixing up Laila. So there's a very deep Torah Perishim underneath in terms of Kabbalah, and I really like this. We should tune into this. That the concept of Shefa is a big avoda. We were trying to bring down Shefa with these bookings, unity marketing, everything I'm trying to do, and working with people like Levi and Matziel and this and Black. We're going to Düsseldorf in a week from Tuesday. All this Shefa we're trying to bring down, as Hashem's help, it goes together with not just physically but also spiritually, and that's the Indian of mochin, having the right kind of musag mindset. And the Shefa descends from the higher level to the lower realms in a series of mochin, levels of consciousness, whose intensity is progressively reduced in order that the lower realms might also benefit from them. This way, no matter what spiritual level a person is on, you can always conceive of ways in which to come close to Hashem. That's the nakuda, that you're constantly trying to davik to Hashem, and bring an end to the night, to fix up the bechina of Malchus Peh, the speech, and that's going to draw down a lot of Shefa. The abundance of Shefa comes a lot with how we think and how we express our thoughts. This no matter what, everyone needs to work. I know myself, my wife has been pointing it out, and Gedalia Fenster pointed out very strong, that if we bring out an energy of Emunah B'Tochin, it comes with it abundance, comes with it a mindset change, comes with it the ability to be able to draw energy into our life, into our spouse, into our home. And a lot of the low energy that people are functioning in has a lot to do with how we're thinking about things. That's why we have to adjust our outlook in a more shepherdic way. I have tried it recently with certain companies and Shtadlisim, and it didn't work out. I was discussing it with someone today, and the Indian is that you still have to draw out what you did accomplish, and build from that and learn from it. It wasn't failures, it was learning. It was a process of learning, and every experience is you're bonding with different souls and learning and growing. But this is an aspect drawing down the Shefa into the Mochin, fulfilling the expanded Mochin for which to connect with Hashem. And just as Hashem renews the creation each day, and each day brings new Shefa of Mochin, new abundance of mindset and lights to the world, because that's the order. Mochin, Shefa, lights, Oiris. And this aspect of spheres is primarily for the benefit of Malchus. We're talking from the Hari and the Indian of Zerampin, bringing down this persona to Malchus. So whatever happens to Zerampin affects Malchus, which in turn affects humanity. And this is obviously a very deep concept. But there's in the physical realm, unity between male and female begets a child. So Za'ampin and Malchus. Mochin Shefa light. That brings blessing to the world. Every child comes with a new Shefa, a new blessing. You have to realize that. Every child born is a tremendous Simcha, and Shemaim brings down new abundance to the world. And when Adam and Chava, it's funny because I had a guy come around today, an old friend called Adam, and he was talking about someone he's speaking to called Chava. And Mamish mentioned it, and he was talking about building a family with her and bringing down lots of souls, like just in the, the potential there. And this is the idea of a union between Za'anpin and Malchus. That's what takes place from Chatzos, from midnight, and that's a transition from the night, where the other forces have more control, and to the yichud, the unification that takes place from midnight. Minay Rabbi style brings down Shefa of Mochin and Oiris into Malchus, into the Kalim, into the vessels. So when we learn Torah at night, which is not always easy, it's a more challenging time to learn Torah. One of the things I do after my wife's fallen asleep, and if I'm still awake, I try to write my book, United Souls. So a lot of the book of United Souls has been written during those late nights. And I finished off all my different ishtadlusim at work and chilling with my wife, and after and everything's masuda, then I start writing my book. And sometimes it is brought out a higher level of clarity because it's a more difficult time. It's at the end of the day, it's in the middle of the night, but there's a hamtaka from the midnight, and you draw it down. And the concept of the holy writings, the Ksav, is the day, and the Chochmas, the Torah, the Torah Shabbat Peh, is more connected to the night, the night time. I'm going to discuss this more. So let's go weiter. It says this concept of, he called that night, it's the end of all flesh to darkness. Rebbe Nachman connects an end to all flesh and an end of darkness. So this confusion and the circumstances that we go through in life come to an end by us studying Torah under those difficult circumstances, and that fixes up the speech, and that brings down the ability to communicate abundance into our life. We're going to carry on when we learn again Motzei Shabbos, but this concept of drawing down the Chut Chesed into the day is through our learning Torah night. The way we draw down the kindness into the day, this chut, this kav, this line of abundance that goes into our life, is through learning Torah night. And that's what we're doing right now. We're learning. It's night times in between Mincha Maariv, and we're going to have the Zer Shimshon share in a minute. Learning Torah night brings down chesed in the day. Chesed hu bechinas boker. That's the union of the Avram. Of Avram Avinu, chesed lahagib b'boker chastecha. Kamo shekosav b'zohar ha'boker or. And the morning is with light. Da boker da Avram, and that is the morning of Avram. Anoshim shulchu inyan marei dedinim. So he's saying that with the first light of the morning, this is the morning of Avram, the men were sent on their way. The men were sent on their way. These are Hema Chamarim. These are together with the masters of judgment, together with their donkeys. Inan v'chol sato misavra. And the entire side of impurity. So he sent them on their way, meaning they were sent away because the loving kindness of Avram Avinu, the Chesed, the Or, Boka Or, this is the first light which is removing the side of impurity, removing the powers of judgment and the donkeys which represent the klipos, because Chamorim are very physical. It's also brought in the Gemara and Brochas, this idea of Chamorim. And also underneath it talks about until the morning, this whole idea, the Ad Boker, and it's a pasuk from Ruth, K'mo shekosov shichvi Ad Boker. Boaz said this to Ruth. We just had in Shavuos, we mentioned that it comes out from Ruth. We know David HaMelech. David HaMelech is Malchus Mashiach, but also the Indian of Zmiris. We're going to talk about it more. Motzei Shabbos, the Malcha. The Indian is we should try to tune in more and more into the Indian of the Hamtaka that takes place from the night to the day, through the learning of the Torah, through the loving kindness of Avram Avinu, through the transition from darkness to light. And that's really what the world is all about. we're the darkest time before Mashiach comes. So that transition from darkness to light is where we're at right now. All these holy Gerrim that are coming back, and all the Baal Teshuvas, and it's all about transforming this world from darkness to light. It's the light of Avram Avinu, or Avram. Avram Avinu was the first Baal Teshuvah, the first who was Megar, his slave. It says in the Gemara in Sukkot, and Rashi explains, he transformed his slave into a mokum of Torah, a mokum of Shechina, a mokum of Hamtaka, sweetness. And that goes together all the way through to Malchus, which is representing in Ruth, the famous Ger, who Boaz asked her to wait till the morning, and then he would redeem her. That's like a bechina of the Hamtaka that takes place with Mashiach's coming from Yemenu. Which is to have a beautiful Shabbos Balascha, elevating our speech, elevating everything around us. And Be'ez Hashem will carry on with this beautiful, deep Torah in the realms of Kabbalah, in the realms of Panemius, and the inner light will bring Mashiach, the Korah will bring the Gula, bring the redemption, just like Boaz and Ruth, and Melech Mashiach. Amen v'amen. Thank you for learning. Baruch Adonai, Avoyrach, Elam, Vo'ed.